Hey, so now that we've learned how to make round stitch marks, we're going to go and move on to creating French stitch marks. To do so, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. We're going to use the line segment tool. Click on the screen, and you're going to use a few sizes here. For me, it's 1.6 millimeters. I use a KS blade, French pricking iron, and the blades are 1.6 millimeters in length. You would probably want to check the manufacturer of your pricking irons and see what the length of the blades are. That should kind of give you an idea. Usually it's between 1.6 to 2 millimeters, I believe. But just make sure that you are checking with the manufacturer of your pricking irons. You're going to set it to 45 degrees and then push OK. And then what you're going to see is that it's going to create a 45-degree line like so. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a copy of this line, and then we're going to drag it over some distance away. Really doesn't matter how far. Make sure you're holding on to shift so that it actually stays parallel. So you see how it's staying parallel. We're going to do that again. We're going to do Control Copy, Control Shift V. Then you're going to click it, hold Shift, and drag it over. See how it's staying aligned to the first stitch. Then what you're going to do is you're going to use something called the blend tool. It's this button right here. And you're going to click on the first stitch and the second stitch, and then it's going to fill in the blanks. The problem is the stitch gaps are not going to be correct. They're too tight, and they're probably not going to match your pricking irons. So what you're going to do is you're going to double click on the blend tool here. It's going to bring up this dialog. You're going to click on the spacing, and you're going to go to specified distance. The pricking irons that I use are 3 millimeters. If yours are 3.38, type in 3.38. If yours are 4 millimeters, type in 4. And then here's the most important thing. You want to go ahead and align it to path. If you choose the other option, which is align to the page, it's actually not, the stitch marks are not going to follow a path correctly when you apply them. So we're going to go ahead and apply them to the path and push OK. And there are your stitch marks. Now, in this case, since we're going to use multiple of these, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste several, so that I have them available for use. And you'll see why here in just a moment. So we're going to go back here. We're going to go ahead and start over. We're going to delete these right here that we've made earlier. Delete those. And then we're going to go to each one of these. We're going to change the stroke back to the line. So 0.35, and we'll remove the dash line. To apply the stitch marks, what we have to do is we're going to have to cut these lines up at the corners, like so, with the scissor tool. Then what you're going to do is you're going to select each line and the stitch mark. So you're going to select the line, then select the stitch lines with the shift key held down. I apologize, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I can barely talk, so I apologize if it's difficult to follow along with me, but we'll keep on chugging along. So to apply the stitch line to that line, you're going to go to Object, Blend, and replace the spine. And you can see how it replaces the spine with your stitch mark. Do the same thing for the other two. Shift, select, Object, Blend, Replace. Again, select, Shift, select, Object, Blend, Replace. The issue with this though is that there's a couple stitch marks that are not lined up correctly. You're going to have to actually, or the incorrect orientation. And it's these two right here. You're going to go ahead and transform, right click and transform, and reflect it. So it's pointing in the right direction. Same thing here, right click, transform, reflect. So now our stitch marks are perfect. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and make our pockets. So as before, the last video, we're going to go ahead and control copy, control shift V, and then we're going to bring these down here. Same thing, select the ones that we need. Using shift to click, control copy, and control shift V. Well, my computer will listen to me. It's a little bit frozen. Let's try that again. Control shift V. And we're going to bring it down here. All right. So now we're just going to delete some of the things that we don't need. So like that one. Delete the box. Delete that box. Delete. 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 All right. And as before, we do have to make sure that these are selectable so we can delete those lines. So we're going to go click on one object and we're going to expand. Again, we're going to do the same thing here, object, expand. And what that's going to do, when we select the direct selection tool, we can then select each stitch mark separately and then delete them. All right. And we're going to do the same thing here. Delete, delete. Same thing here. Delete, delete. All right. And then we're going to have to get the stitch mark right here. So we're going to go ahead and offset the path. But this time we're going to cut all four corners with the scissor tool. And then delete the lines that we do not need. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and select that line. And then select the stitch mark, object, blend, replace the spine. All right, and so forth. This is also not lined up correctly, so we're going to make sure that we do line it up. There we go. Object, expand, okay. And then direct selection, we're just going to select the ones that we don't need. Bam. Same thing here. Bam. So now that's done. We're going to erase this box since we don't need it anymore. I think I ended up making duplicates earlier. All right, so we're going to go ahead and expand these two. Again, object, expand, object, expand, and then just delete the ones that we do not want. And there we go. So now we have our stitch marks represented with our French pricking irons. We can also apply it to round edges. We're going to add an artboard here to kind of show what it looks like. Now the next video will be going a little bit more in depth with round edges, but just want to kind of show you what it looks like, or how it looks like. Just kind of a demo, kind of a preview. So we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and we'll do a rectangle tool. And let's say we create our card pocket here, 104 by, what was it? Let's look at what it was earlier. Let's say it was 104, 75.5. So let's try that. All right. So we have that. And see these round little dots right here? You can actually round those edges by double clicking. It brings up the transform properties, and you can change the rounded corners. Now, if you click this, it links the corners together. So what change you make to one corner, it will actually apply to the other ones. So let's say we do 5. Okay, 5 looks good. Now, some people do like deeper corners. So the higher you go, the more rounded it becomes. We're going to offset the path here, 3. All right, so let's try this and see if that works correctly. It doesn't necessarily work all the time, and we do have to make some changes and adjustments, and as you can see, it did not go all the way around. Let's see if we can fix that there. Make sure that we can get that to go. Just a second. Blend. Place spine. Let's see if I can expand this a little bit. Apologize. Just taking a little longer. Oh. Let's see if I can just blend it here, see if that works. Well, it's not going to work correctly. All right, so what we're going to do is, that's why. It's probably because of the fact that it's actually assuming the top. Let me reflect that here. Oh, goodness. 1 o'clock in the morning. Not the best time for this. There we go. So as you can see, it accounts for the corners. Now, there may be slight differences at the corners here in comparison to what it looks like originally with the pricking irons, but this gives you a nice rough idea of how the rounded edges are going to be done. Now, as you can see, these are not necessarily 3 millimeters apart, and what we'll do is we'll go further in depth in fixing that in the next video, and that should cover this top part there. So that's what it was. It's not just not doing 3 millimeters correctly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to end it here, and in the next video we will go with the rounded edges more in depth.